Hello, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another video. I hope that you guys are hearing me much better. I know that on one of my videos, someone said the sound was low. I am wearing a mic. I am mic'd up. So hopefully you guys can hear me much better. So let's just get into this video. We're talking about day 4 of the Tim Norman and Sweetie Pie's trial. We are talking about who testified, which I had notes, but unfortunately they are on the phone that I'm looking at instead of the one that's in my hand. So I'm going to be going off memory. Please forgive me. There were 3 people who actually testified on Friday. 2 of them were FBI agents. One of them was an analyst, for cell phone data, and he would look at the phones, who called who, and analyze that information. He's the person who was able to track everybody that was involved in this case via telephone. They tracked Tim, they tracked Terica, they tracked Trivel, as well as they tracked Andrae. So they were able to look at every single person who was involved in the case, how they moved, and what happened as they moved, where they were, who they were with, who they were talking to, etc., etc. The other person who testified was also, I don't have his name, but he was also a member of the FBI. He was an expert with the cell towers, being able to analyze the towers, analyze where people are. He was able to answer all the questions that they had about the cell towers, knowing what phone was where, etc., etc. Now, the downside to the cell tower situation is they can tell what phone is where based on the tower that it is pinging off of. But what they cannot tell is who the actual person was on the phone. So basically what they did is took the data from these 2 people, put it together, and was able to tell a full story of how these people moved based on that. They were also able to tell that Tim went and got the new phone at Walmart, that he also got Terica a phone at Walgreens, and that they activated them, when they activated them, and where. Another thing they were able to do was when the 2 of them sat outside of the Walgreens, they actually got camera footage. They got a picture from the video camera. And they were able to tell that, yes, this was definitely them. So at certain locations, they actually confirmed who it was. They also confirmed the validity of the picture, because I don't know if you realize this, but every time you take a picture, it has what's called EFIX data, EFIX data, and it says where the picture was taken, when the picture was taken, the aperture of how it was taken, the details about the device that took it. I mean, it can get very detailed based on how whatever software you're using and whatever device you're using. So they were able to confirm that. So that was done. Okay, then the other person who testified was the security guard from Sweetie Pie's. I think his name was Big Ed, either Big Ed or Big Al. He testified because he's the one, when Andrae first got to town, he went to Sweetie Pie's and spoke to, people that he knew there. When he was in Sweetie Pie's, this Big Al or Big Ed guy took a picture of him and sent the picture to Tim. So they wanted to know, why did you do that? He said that he was security at Sweetie Pie's, and that because he was security at Sweetie Pie's, that anytime there was an ex-employee he would take pictures and send it to Miss Robbie and Tim, just in case, I guess, something broke out or something happened, or maybe the person left on bad terms. That was just a part of what he did. So he said that is what he did. And then he went and spoke to him and then went back in his office. This is how Tim knew he was in town. Another question that was asked was, did you know where Tim was at the time that you sent the information? He said as far as he knew, Tim was in California. Nobody knew that Tim had came to town. The only person that that knew that Tim had came to town was the young man who picked him up from the airport and took him to the Chase Plaza Hotel. Terica knew because she met with him at the Chase Plaza Hotel. They had sex and then they...
Sorry, I'm having trouble understanding right now. Please try a little later.
Sorry about that. They did their little thing that they do when they get together. And also his DJ friend, I think his name is DJ Beats or something to that nature. He got a phone call from Tim asking him to go to the hotel, that, it was still some time left on the room. If he wanted to kick it at the hotel, he could. And he left some money there, pick up the money and hold it for him. So the guy and his girlfriend did go to the room. They was going to kick it, have them a good time. But when they got there, the girl said Tim and Terica left their condoms on the floor. So that girl said, I'm not staying in here, they nasty. And they was. So they ended up leaving, but the guy did pick up the money. Now, the guy felt the type of ways. He was nervous about the money because it was $5,000. And then a day later, Tim contacts him telling him, take the money to old boy over in some apartments that he stays in. And so he was just nervous, so he took a picture of the money. So he took a picture, and so did the guy who was paid the money, took a picture when he got the money. So that's why they were able to identify that the money that was actually picked up from Tim was the same money that was given to Travell, which is the person who actually shot Andrae. Okay, so those are the three people who testified. Now, they had a lot of motions that they were trying to still get stuff kicked out. Tim felt the type of ways, his attorney, felt the type of ways about some of the evidence. There was 2,600 pages of evidence from the cell tower information to the phone information. They tried to get that kicked out. They felt like that was way too much and that they waited too late to turn this information in. So, hey, we don't want this. We want it kicked out. The judge was like, no. Another thing, Wally Yagman, I think his name is, I hope I said it right, they can't find him. So they waited to the last minute to try to subpoena him to come and testify. Because they just subpoenaed him, I think Monday, they wanted the judge to kind of push the issue and make it to where Wally had to come and testify. The judge was like, hey, y'all the one who took a long time to subpoena him. I'm not going to just jump in. Like, you got to at least make an attempt to find him. Now, it was said that Wale was trying to go out of town with his job a few weeks prior to this date, because you know that he is under, is it parole? Bail. He's on bail. So anytime that he leaves town or leaves out of that section of the state, he has to have permission. So he asked the court for permission to go to another city, Kansas City, as a matter of fact, for his job, and he was denied. They said, no way. So he is supposed to be in town, but they literally have someone sitting on his house saying for some reason he has not come home, and they cannot find him to subpoena him to come to court. So that is something that was also discussed. Another thing that was brought up was the fact that Terica, Terica and her mother know, if you guys have been following this case, you know that Terica and her mother ended up going to California shortly after the passing of Andrae. The way it was put was like this was something that they did to just go and hang out with Tim. Now, they did see Tim. Tim took her mom out to eat, and they were able to hang out and whatnot, but that was already planned. Terica was definitely trying to open up a clothing boutique. So because she was trying to open up this boutique, she had already had a trip planned to California. So the fact that she went had nothing to do with the case or had nothing to do with what happened. It was just something that her and her mom had planned to do, and that's what they did. Also, it was said that Tim contacted her to say move when she was sitting outside the place where Andrae was shot. It wasn't Tim that texted her. It was actually the young man who shot Andrae that texted her move, because Andrae had to actually walk down the street a little bit in front of another house to go and sit and talk to her. It was another thing that was brought up by another YouTuber. Why would Terica buy an outfit for Andrae if she knew that something was about to happen to him? She didn't, from what it is being said now, that it may be that she actually didn't know. She did know that Tim was after Andrae, trying to get in touch with him. But what she claimed was that she only knew that he was trying to get Miss Robbie's money back, that she did not know that he planned on harming him in that manner. So, I mean, she may have just been taken advantage of. Now, another thing that was mentioned in the court case on Friday was how calculated the plan was and how calculated Tim was in the planning, and how he had everything laid out from one step to the next, who was involved and what they were going to do, but yet nobody knew anything. Now, another thing that was done was Travell, he did testify, and he said that Tim never talked to him about committing the murder. But the fact was, he had to talk to him because he gave him all the information, including Terica's contact information. That's why he was able to contact her, yet they didn't know each other. Another thing that was brought up is that Tim already knew that Terica and Andrae knew each other because he peeped on Facebook that they were friends. So he just kind of took advantage of the situation because he knew both parties, but yet they didn't know, I don't think, that the other one knew him. So that's why Andrae was trusting of her. He didn't know that Tim knew her. Another thing also that was brought up was the fact that it was asked, how did Andrae know that Tim was after him? Well, a young lady that also knew the two of them went and told Andrae, hey man, I heard Tim is after you, man, watch your back, be careful because he's trying to get you. So because of that, she told him, and he told other members of the family. Now, I don't know exactly who those family members were, and I don't know what their response was, but it was definitely told. Now, once Miss Robbie found out about the passing of Andrae, she did call Tim, but Tim didn't answer the phone. He couldn't because he was actually in the airport at the time that the call came through, and obviously he didn't want anyone to know where he was, so he waited. And he talked to her, but he talked to her at a different time, another time, or another location, so that it could not be determined where he actually was. So once they talked, he contacted the security guard, Mr. Ed, Mr. Big, Mr. whoever, Mr. Al. I forgot his name. I'm sorry about that. I will put it in the description. But he contacted him and said, hey, go pick up my mom and take her to the police station. He actually did it and didn't even know why. He didn't find out until he actually got to the police station about the passing of Andrae. So, and he did testify to this. This was another interesting thing that was brought to my attention. The funeral was actually in Texas, and the security guard guy actually went to the funeral. So the attorney said, "Why did you go to the funeral?" Or no, he asked him, "Did he go?" He said, "Yeah, I went." So it was asked to him, "Why did you go?" I mean, he ain't your family. Why'd you go? He said, "I went because Tim asked me to go." He said, "Who did you go with?" He went with him and the other two guys who worked security at Sweetie Pies. They all drove down to Texas. It was asked did they have weapons when they went, and there was an objection to that question, so it wasn't able to be asked. So that question wasn't actually answered. But what was stated and put on record is that Tim actually had a bulletproof vest on at Andrae's services, which, like, dude, I don't know. I thought that was crazy. He had a bulletproof vest on. So, wow. But anyway, but yeah, so, but that pretty much consists of Friday. Both families were still there. Andre's mom, Andre's brother, Andre's sisters was there. He had cousins and aunts that was there. So they're really showing up, pretty good. As far as Tim's family, he didn't have anybody come to the afternoon, which was Monique, Miss Robbie's sister, and Charles did come in the afternoon. Charles says now he doesn't work for Sweetie Pies anymore. He actually works for the Nike, I guess, outlet. So maybe he wasn't able to get off, but he was able to go, and he didn't go until after the morning session of court. I think that's pretty much all that we have as an update. I know someone mentioned something about wrongful death lawsuit, and I don't know if the family plans that or not. Depending on the outcome, they actually might plan that. Another thing that did happen, I remember they were saying that the jail was stopping Tim's attorneys from being able to meet with him. And so after the day's court proceedings happened and the jury was taken out, Tim's attorneys did ask that the jail that the judge please contact the jail and ask that they let him be seen. So that was put out there, and he said that he had already made the call, so he shouldn't have a problem. I think there was issues happening to where the attorney, I think, let Tim use his phone, and because of that, the jail restricted access for him to be able to see him, because obviously that was not something that they were allowed to do. So they stopped letting them meet with each other. So after that, they asked for permission, stating that they needed to see him this weekend. So I don't know if there was stipulations put on that or not, but that definitely happened. Anyway, I think that is about it. Yeah, that's about it for today, guys. If you have any questions, please leave them below. If you have any input, please leave it below. Miss Robbie is supposed to testify there, saying Monday. Also, the judge said that the trial should actually be over by Wednesday. I don't know why I thought this would drag out a long time, but for whatever reason, the judge said it should be over by Wednesday. So maybe by the end of the week, we may have a verdict. Whew. All I can say is justice for Andrae. See you guys in the next video.